The warning beneath the water. The lake behind my house wasn't something you'd find on postcards. It wasn't crystal blue, or peaceful, or even welcoming. It was murky, the kind of water that seemed to swallow light and sound whole. But to me, it was part of home. My property line touched the shore, and every summer, the local kids, and one particularly loud HOA member named Karen, treated it like a community pool. I'd warned them before. I told them it wasn't safe. Not because I was being controlling, but because I knew what was under that water. 3 summers ago, before I even moved in, there'd been an accident. A teenager named Jason went missing one evening after swimming here. The official story said he drowned, but no one ever found his body. Locals whispered that the bottom of the lake wasn't stable, filled with sinkholes, tangled weeds, and cold currents that could drag a person under in seconds. So when I bought the property, I built a small dock and put up clear warning signs. Private property, no swimming. Danger, deep drop OFF. Most people respected it, except Karen. Karen was the head of our HOA, self-appointed protector of the neighborhood. She was the kind of woman who believed every fence was too high, every dog too loud, and every property her business. And when she found out that I'd banned people from swimming in her neighborhood lake, she marched down to my backyard, clipboard in hand, ready for war. "You can't just claim a lake, Nathan," she shouted, hands on her hips. "It's public property. You don't own nature." I kept calm. "Karen, I own this section of land. The lake connects through it. People could get hurt here." She laughed in that high-pitched, mocking way only Karen could. "Oh, please. It's a lake. Kids swim all the time. You're not God, Nathan. You can't control water." I looked over her shoulder at the lake. It was completely still, unnaturally so, like it was listening. "Karen," I said quietly, "you don't understand. It's not about control. It's about safety." But she rolled her eyes and stormed off, muttering something about tyrants with too much free time. The next weekend, I woke up to shouting. When I stepped outside, I saw them, Karen, her teenage son, and 2 other neighbors, splashing around in the water behind my no swimming sign. And then, the laughter stopped. The lake rippled in a strange way. Something shifted under the surface. I ran toward the dock, heart pounding. Because I knew, the lake was awake again. The disappearance. By the time I reached the dock, the water had gone eerily calm again. The laughter, the splashing, all of it was gone, replaced by a silence so heavy it made the air feel thick. "Karen," I shouted, scanning the lake's surface. "Where's your son?" Her friend Marcy, standing waist-deep in the water, looked pale as chalk. He was just here," she stammered, pointing at the rippling center of the lake. "He went under and didn't come back up." Karen's face turned from smug defiance to raw panic in an instant. She splashed frantically, screaming his name. "Tommy! Tommy!" Without thinking, I grabbed the life ring from the dock and tossed it toward her. But it just floated uselessly on the still water. I could feel the cold dread crawling up my spine. That same chilling energy that haunted this lake every summer. I shouted, "Everyone get out." Now, Marcy stumbled out first, gasping and shaking. But Karen didn't move. She just kept calling her son's name over and over until her voice broke. Then, suddenly, the lake answered. A faint gurgling sound bubbled up from beneath the surface, like something exhaling, after years underwater. Then a burst of air shot up, followed by a swirl of dark sludge. Karen screamed and backed away, tripping in the shallows. I grabbed her arm, yanking her toward shore just as the water churned violently where she'd been standing. We collapsed on the bank, soaked and trembling. The water went calm again, almost smugly. What was that?" Marcy whispered. I looked at the lake, then at Karen. "That's why I put up those signs," I said. "This isn't just deep water. There's something down there, something that pulls people under." Karen stared at me with wild eyes. "You think I'm supposed to believe some ghost story? My son is in there. We need to call search and rescue." I nodded quickly. "Yes, but no one else goes in that water." She called 911, sobbing into her phone. Within an hour, police cars, an ambulance, and a dive team arrived. They sealed off my backyard and began searching the lake. The divers went in, but after hours of work, they found nothing. No sign of Tommy, no body, not even a shoe. One of the officers came up to me as they packed up their gear. "We'll come back tomorrow," he said quietly. "But between us, this lake's got a reputation. Locals call it Deadwater Pond. You might want to keep people away. Karen glared at me, her eyes burning. You did this, she hissed. You cursed this place. I didn't argue, because deep down, I feared she might be right, not that I caused it, but that the lake had chosen to wake because of her. The night whispers. After the divers left, the police sealed off the area with yellow tape. But Karen refused to go home. She sat on the shore for hours, staring at the lake as if sheer willpower could bring her son back. By the time night fell, she was still there, soaked, shaking, and silent. I brought her a blanket, but she didn't look up. You think I'm crazy, don't you? She said softly. I hesitated. No, I think you're a mother who wants answers. She finally turned toward me. Her eyes were hollow. You said there's something down there. What did you mean? I exhaled slowly. The previous owner told me before he moved out, said he heard voices at night. Said the water moves when there's no wind. He lost his dog in it once. I thought it was just small-town superstition. Karen didn't say anything, but the way she stared at the black water told me she was starting to believe. At around midnight, I went back inside. I couldn't sleep. The walls felt too thin, the air too still. Then I heard it. Faint, distant. A boy's voice. Mom. It was coming from outside. I grabbed a flashlight and ran to the deck. The beam hit the water, and for a split second, I saw a movement. Ripples spreading outward, slow and deliberate. Then the voice again, clearer this time. Mom, it's cold. Karen was already running toward the dock, her bare feet slapping the wet boards. Tommy, I'm here, she screamed. Karen, wait. I shouted, sprinting after her. But before I could reach her, something shot up from the lake, a hand. Pale, dripping, and wrong. It grabbed her wrist and yanked hard. She screamed, stumbling forward, her flashlight tumbling into the dark water. I lunged, catching her by the arm. For a moment, it was a tug of war, me pulling against something unseen, something impossibly strong. The water boiled beneath her feet. Karen, let go. I shouted, trying to pry her free. She looked at me, her face twisted between terror and disbelief. He's right there. I can feel him. And then the voice came again, this time behind me. Help me, Mom. I froze. It wasn't coming from the water anymore. It was whispering from the trees. Karen gasped and finally let go. We both stumbled backward as the water went still again, smooth as glass. I turned my flashlight toward the forest edge and saw a trail of wet footprints leading away from the lake. Small, barefoot. Karen saw them too. He's alive, she whispered. But deep down, I knew that whatever left those footprints wasn't her son anymore. What the lake took. The footprints led us into the woods, faint, glistening under the beam of my flashlight. Each step pressed deep into the soil, as though whoever made them carried the weight of something far heavier than a boy's frame. Karen walked ahead, clutching her phone light, calling out softly, Tommy? Honey, it's Mom. Come to me, sweetheart. I stayed close, scanning the shadows. The forest around the lake had a strange stillness, a silence that pressed in from every side. Even the crickets had stopped. Every instinct told me we shouldn't be there. We followed the prints until they stopped at a clearing. In the center was an old, half-collapsed boathouse, something I'd never seen before. It leaned crookedly over the lake's edge, its roof caved in and walls slick with moss. The footprints ended at the door. Karen rushed forward, ignoring my warning. The wooden planks creaked beneath her weight as she pushed the door open. Inside, the air was damp and heavy. The smell of rot was thick. Then we heard it, a faint splash, like a single drop falling into deep water. Tommy, she whispered again. The darkness inside the boathouse shifted, and something stepped forward. It was shaped like a boy, but its movements were wrong. Too slow, too deliberate. The beam of my flashlight caught its face, and my stomach dropped. The skin was pale and bloated, eyes milky white. Water dripped steadily from its mouth. Karen gasped, stumbling backward. No, that's not. Get out, I shouted, grabbing her arm. Now, the thing that looked like her son tilted its head, then smiled. A gurgling, wet sound came from its throat. Mom, it rasped, stay with me. Then the floorboards gave way. The rotted wood snapped under our feet, and cold water swallowed us whole. For a moment, everything was chaos, darkness, bubbles, the sound of rushing water. I clawed my way up, gasping for air, grabbing onto what was left of the dock. Karen wasn't beside me anymore. When I turned back, I saw her, sinking, her arms reaching upward, as something pulled her deeper. I shouted her name until my voice broke. But the lake was already sealing itself again, calm and unbothered. By morning, the police found me on the shore, soaked and shaking. They never found Karen. Just her phone, lying on the ground near the broken boathouse, screen cracked. Flashlight still on. The HOA never came back after that. The sign stayed up, though someone keeps tearing them down. Sometimes, late at night, I hear splashing. Sometimes, I hear laughter. And every time I look at that lake, I wonder if it's hungry again, or if it's just waiting for someone else to call it public property.